did just get straight into pushing dirt this morning and clearing out any drainage spots. So obviously you can see on the other side of the dozer there's a lot of freshly pushed dirt, cleared the mud out. This here we've got to clear, we're going to end up putting a pipe under the track here and get rid of this, fill that up higher, bring that up higher. The track held up really well for what's compacted so far. Obviously it'll need to trim up, there's some water ruts in it. But you can see how wet it is there where I tracked the dozer up just before. Tabletop's still in perfect shape. It's held up really good, so now it's just, yeah, what I got stuck in, I have built a lot more track this morning. Well, I built a lot more yesterday, trimmed it up a little bit. So we'll go this way. Dozer's filthy, Aussie's filthy, everything's all wet and muddy. So, taking out all this fencing here, which was an old horse arena. So now I've cut in this lip here, widened it out a bit, filled up a bit of a hole there. So once that dries out a little bit more, I'll level that all off, and we're going to cut a V drain on this side of the track to make sure it gets around there, down to the driveway, across the driveway into the creek. Got big roller, sort of almost natural terrain style tabletop thing that I'm on now. There, the biggest thing with this is I'm digging up lots of tree roots in spots. So, got a roller here, comes around that right hand corner, and jump across the road, across the driveway. Come down the hill here, there's a bit of water coming out of the old drainage under that pad. So this corner here, we've got a tabletop here, nice corner, coming up the hill. Now, it is all roughed in. The main thing is now just like roughing material in to get as much work done as I can while this dries out. Being it's a natural water course, we're going to try that part spot there is alright, the other side's fine, there's a little channel through it, it'll just get wet and boggy when the water's flowing. So this is a boggy spot down there where the client had a posse that was doing some slashing get bogged previously. So that's the remains of an old farm gate that was in there, because I used that to get the posse out. So we've got obviously the roller there that we did yesterday comes down up around that 180, up here around the slightly wider 180. We'll push this berm out a little bit more. Gonna put a lip down here. They don't want any doubles, but we're gonna have to make it like so 2 rollers, but so that way if someone comes around fast they can sort of double across the creek. I almost want it to land mellow, almost like single to flat, but the trouble is it's an uphill. So we'll shape that in and work it out, because I don't want it too close to the water in case a lot more water comes down at some point and washes it away. So we've got 90 up the top, roller, or 180, almost 180, not quite. And then you come over that where the dozer tracks are now. It's a hipped tabletop down through the valley here. Okay, I'm going to put a bit of a lip sort of just about there. So we could jump up the hill a little bit here, fill this in, get rid of all these tree roots, and then you come around the left hand corner here, 90 to the tabletop, and then back up the hill across the driveway. So that's what I'm up to. Yesterday, it probably was that one actually, got a rock caught up in under the tracks of the dozer, and it actually snapped the bolts for the track guide on the inside. So I've got to get a welder to come out first thing in the morning, weld some nuts onto the bolts and get those bolts out to replace them. Because at the moment when I work on too much of a batter, the track's trying to pull off the rollers, which is not ideal, it's not what I want. Certainly don't want to pull the track off and damage anything, snap the track. So for right now I'm probably going to jump in the posi and start shaping this So I didn't realise the camera fell off the post that I sat it on, and it ended up in this dirt that I was pushing up here. Come looking for it and just saw the legs of the tripod thing hanging out. So fortunately it's fared fairly well. We're still recording in the dirt, so that's a good start, I suppose. I did, sorry, just moving some sticks. Did destroy a drone last week, so it's all part of it, I suppose. Anyway, trimming up this corner here, tabletop section there, coming around here. Haven't put too much of a burr on it, it's pretty mellow, it's pretty slow part of the track. Starting to accelerate up here. Over this sort of, like I said earlier, natural terrain style, a little bit of a tabletop sort of section here if you wanted to come in hard enough to jump it. Otherwise take the wide line, square up, jump across the road jump, so gonna move on to shaping that. Right, so the track's gonna come down the bottom here, sort of where I'll track through this, come back along here, then turn down through this valley here, so I've got to clear this garbage basically out of here. Run the line down through there so you can, it's probably out somewhere and you can watch that, but there's a very good chance the camera will go flat on this one. So, build laps. Right, so the camera's on red, very low battery. I was pretty tentative there for a bit because I saw some cables. There's not supposed to be any services anywhere near here. And I saw these white cables, and then there was a black one as well, and it turns out it was just old horse fencing. A couple of star pickets attached to it up there, so that's why I was a bit tentative. But also I broke that track guide, which I've got waiting on the welder to come out first thing tomorrow morning to get the bolts out and replace that. So I'm a bit sketchy if they're going on too much of a lean because it pulls the track, tries to pull the track off the rollers. Anyway, I'm gonna go, got a couple of small trees, we can push them over the dozer easy, but I'm gonna grab the chainsaw and cut them off higher, just so we want as minimal clearing through there as possible. So once I'll come down. Oh, there's plenty of water sitting here. Geez, I'm fast. So that one I'm going to cut. This dead one I'm going to cut. And there's like basically like 2 or 3 straggly ones through there to join up to where the bottom of the track is down the bottom there. So I'm going to cut them off and fell them. They're dead anyway, but I just don't want them pushing wide and pushing any more clearing any other trees that I don't want down, you know. Absolutely minimum footprint possible. So I get the chainsaw. Day 4, went flat yesterday when I was cutting the trees in the in amongst there. Didn't charge it till last night, the camera till last night. Then this morning I had the mobile welder on site to fix up the track guide issues, the broken bolts in the track guide on the dozer, so that took a bit of time there. But yesterday after cutting those trees, I pushed a line in around, there's a single in there, pushed in with the dozer, hasn't been trimmed up yet. Came out here, did this line here, which is going to come down the hill, rollers the whole way through here, all shaped up, comes out here into this 180 down the bottom here, which I'll get in the posi now. Comes around the corner, tabletop here, and then back down through that valley section, through the trees. So, posi time. Day 5. Day 5, sorry, I got to clear the throat. Yesterday wasn't quite as productive as I like. I mean, I got heaps done, but I always want more. I had an issue with the dozer. The blower fan for the aircon has decided to pack it in, so as you can see, it's all partly ripped apart here. That's the blower fan in the top there. I've got to go get a new one from Hastings Steering today, so I'll lose a bit of time on that because it's about an hour away. All pulled apart. Just in the posi this morning, starting to trim up all of the stuff that got wet. Yesterday, the day before, all of that, we had a lot of rain. Yesterday I also fixed a lot of my water issues on the track here. So originally I'd cut it so there's a low point down here, but it was pulling a little bit of water in the corner. And so now we've cut this drain here. I've obviously got to clean it up, the V drain. I've reworked this whole surface here. It's definitely still spongy underfoot, but it's in the shape that it needs to be to dry out and still be a good motocross track. That looks like a burrito. Yeah, so anyway, got the pipe in here, cut a lot of material in, added a lot of height to it. So this has all got to bake out, and then we'll brush over it again. We've got the top of the track, I've finished, shaped up and trimmed the road transfer sort of jump. It's a double, it's cool. It's on a I don't really call it off camber. It's not off camber. So you roll into a berm and it just rolls, the berm actually shapes into the lip. So it's, I don't know, there's some name for it. BMXs use it all the time, do that sort of thing. But it's so we can get, because the boundary line on the top side of the roadway is like almost parallel to the driveway, so we don't have much more than the track width on that side. And we've obviously coming up one boundary to turn to the other boundary. How's the finger? I broke that many times. Coming up one boundary to then go along the front boundary, but the road's like 4 meters from the driveway's 4 meters from the boundary, so we've got to transfer across so we land along the boundary line. Anyway, you'll see. It's enough of me trying to explain things. So anyway, we're on here. Track's looking good, starting to come together considering the amount of rain we've had here. I've got shaped this up. I've still got to trim that and pack it in, but like I said, still soft underfoot. But I made sure this is going to be top dressed with top soil, so the rocks will be gone. But I had to use that material from where the dozer sits up there to bring the level up. We've got driveway jump, and this is the lip we shaped up the other day. Natural terrain sort of roller we were talking about. Anyway, I'll jump in the posse. We'll go do some more trimming until we have to go for a drive to Hastings Deerings. So this is it. We've got trimmed up this corner here to go into the tabletop, which then goes around the corner over that natural terrain sort of tabletop to the road driveway jump. So next, Jesus, must be rough looking at my head that close. Next we go play in the swamp. So basically we've got all of this got very wet. Compacted with the dozer, so it's held pretty good, except for where I tracked it again when it was wet. So now it's time to get into planing all this and brushing it all over. So go through and lay it all down and shape it all up. So the camera is on 36%, so you'll have limited time, but I'll skip across the mud and position it somewhere so I can go through and do laps of trimming all that section. 90, 180, almost 180, transfer hip. I may have to stay out of the swamp for now. Alright, so I went to Hastings Deerings, got stuffed around, it took ages, and traffic. Got a new blower fan, found out later on that I've got to pull it out through the inside, not the outside, so I'm going to quickly bang this back together, just run the doors open and get part of the track, the top part of the track near the neighbour's boundary built, because tomorrow they've got horse riding lessons, so don't want to make too much noise there, then we'll sort out the new blower later. So let's get stuck into it. That's it, so door's open. Just gonna go and push some dirt, make some tracks, and put this bad boy in later after when the sun starts to go down, before I upset the neighbours with the noise. Day 6, unusual for me with the track build, because I have to blame the air conditioner in the Dozer for part of it, and the phenomenal amount of rain we've had. Had to rework a fair bit of the track, just because I didn't get it all sealed up properly before the rain. During the rain, it was raining during the build. Anyway, so the track's complete now, aside from like, what I did yesterday was finish off the landing down ramp side of the jump across the driveway, and the downhill section around the top of the house, and to join down into where the rollers are. Come down around the top of the house and come down towards where I built those rollers. A couple of little big, I guess, rollers in that. You could maybe come full noise and double it. The idea was, instead of having it just a straight downhill, which was on the original plan for the owner, I'll put those in just as another feature, just to sort of slow it down a little bit, so you don't come full noise down the hill and just sit on your brakes the whole way to those rollers or the bottom corner. So it's hot, sun's out. It's apparently a cyclone or a tornado warning, whatever it is, for this afternoon, the Gold Coast, but fingers crossed that doesn't happen. It's blue skies at the moment, dark clouds in one spot, but mostly blue. So I'm going to get stuck in, trim this up, and get this track brushed over and finish up this morning. Right, so I can't do what I wanted to do initially, because the next door neighbours have got a horse therapy thing they're doing. We've got a client there at the moment, so we're keeping quiet. But I'm on this is the down ramp for the hip transfer for them across the driveway here. So if you have a look, it comes around here, curves this way. We're going to move that post, cut that post down, then it comes across to land here, and then we're just going to make a bit more of a berm on the back side there. Limited space to work with, because then there's a drain there, so we're just going to push a bit of this up into there and curve it around this way, so that way if you do come wide, you got a bit of a berm, just kick you back onto the road, onto the track. So that's what we're doing now, and then we'll craft a big pad for something else here while we're waiting for the horse lessons to finish, and then I can do the rest of the track. Right, so that's compacted. I'm going to start working my way along a little bit, along the side here, which is basically just a whole straight section, a little bit of a wiggle around a fruit tree, a little rise through the trees up there, and then it goes into the bit more detailed section of the berm up the top of that, but that's where the horses are, so we won't do it there for now. Now, a bit random, completely off topic. Can anyone tell me, is this a something taken over the plant? Wants to go here? Some of them don't have it. Nothing on this one. Anyway, comment below if you know what that's about. It's day 7. Ooh, B. So free, my pretty. Go on the glass. Come on. He's free now. Allergic to bees, so. Anyway. Oh, there's a fly. So, yeah, Gold Coast Ready to be getting smashed with the rain. We've still got the track, like the track's in now. I've got one more berm section, a little bit of straight to trim up, which would have been good to do before the rain, but with the neighbour yesterday, we took a break from it and come down. I've just given these guys I'll do an extra job while I'm here, cutting in a pad for a horse arena, which is what I'm doing this morning. So I'm just going to get that smashed out, do a little bit of trimming on the posse, so you don't need to watch me cut a horse arena, it's just running the rippers in and pushing dirt. But so I'll jump back on very soon when I get onto the last trimming bits of the track, and then we'll be finishing her up today. It might be a little bit too wet. I went around this morning, there's a couple of little spots holding a tiny bit of water, so I cleaned them out this morning with a shovel. But it's looking mean, like it does. Obviously tracks never look as tidy after a rain when they're like compared to what it was when it's freshly trimmed up, but it's holding really well, which is good. Perfect considering it's on a big hill, and yeah, we do get a lot of rain. There is a lot of rain here, heavy rain we've had in the last few days. I think it's supposedly forecast for like 40 mil plus today, but blue skies at the moment, so it might come in this arvo and I'll be done by then. So let's get stuck into a bit of a rant. Right, I'm just trimming up the last corner now. There's still some wet spots in it, so we're going to trim it up as best as we can. We've got a drain at the top side of it here to catch the water coming down, divert it from the track. I'm just shaping this up now. I'm going to track it that way instead of that way, otherwise we're going to end up with ruts through that way, like that way, track mark. So I'm going to keep going around this way, shape it all up so you guys can have a look at that, and then we're down that little bit of the touch up of that straight down there, but it's a bit soggy, so sliding down the hill, and that'll call